Oh, well, hello there. I beg your pardon. I. Oh. So the ball is over. My apologies. Well, I've never been one for dances or parties or celebrations of this sort. Well, I found myself with the strong desire to take a seat in the corner and, well, distract myself, and I'm afraid I must have lost track of time. You're, well, you were hosting this little soiree, were you not? I'm terribly sorry for staying past my welcome. Very sorry. I will simply be on my way. What? Actually, now that I think about it, this presents something of an opportunity, doesn't it? For me, that is. Of course, you're more than welcome to refuse, but I can't help but have some questions that I'd love to have answered. You see, despite being the host of this grand event, I couldn't help but notice that I couldn't help but notice that you weren't partaking of any of the fine cuisine. Rather odd thing, isn't it? If you were anyone else, I would assume you'd poisoned something, or suspected someone else had. But forgive me if this is a bit blunt. You don't seem like the type. You don't seem like the sort of person who would suspect such a plot, or, frankly, perpetrate one. Is that perhaps a bit insulting? I do apologize. Just an observation. I've been reading this fascinating book, you know. Now, I just couldn't help but notice that you simply weren't partaking, and that just, it struck me, especially because this book of mine, you see this? You see the cover? It's a very intriguing book, I'll have you know, on the subject of vampires. What a silly concept, isn't it? What an unbelievable story. A vampire. As if it would ever exist, right? As if such a thing could be. But then, well, I'm not human, am I? This land is a veritable hotbed of magical and mystical oddities, is it not? Now, you might not be a vampire, I might be entirely wrong, but I can't help but think that you are. You, you don't deny it at all, do you? Of course you wouldn't. There's no... Whoop. I... Excuse me. I beg your pardon. Why did you have a bat in your pocket? No. Why a second bat? Stop it. How? Look, I'm not a threat. I do not. All right. I have caught your bat. I am not here to threaten or judge or harm you. I am simply curious. You do not need to throw bats at me. You may have your bat back if you promise not to send it to accost me once again. All right? Do we have an agreement? All right. You may have your bat. I would have expected you. Maybe you would have waited a moment before sending your attack bat again. Yes, it's a little guy. It's cute. There. Okay. Listen. All right? I am here for a single specific reason. All right? Because I find vampires to be fascinating. There's the truth. I take an academic interest in vampires, and I was hoping that I might perhaps be able to interview you and learn more about your experience as a vampire. All right? Is that amenable to you? I sincerely hope so. I would be very frustrated to learn that I experienced such whatever that was for nothing. Do I look like a monster hunter to you? Do I look like one? I assure you I am not. I assure you I am not a monster hunter of any sort. I am... It would be rather hypocritical of me to hunt other monsters when I am one myself. Oh, okay. I am not a bat hunter, and I highly Where? No, the records do. Apology. I was searching for a vampire in control of a rather expansive estate because I assumed that such wealth was unlikely to be acquired in a single lifetime. But there were shockingly few discrepancies in your personal history. Have you genuinely only been a vampire for a few weeks at most? Really? All right. Well, then I suppose we can learn about your vampiric nature together. All right? How does that sound to you, my vampiric friend? If that does sound amenable, then is it all right if I just ask you a few questions and take a few notes? The first thing I would like to ask is, well, I suppose something that should be rather fresh in your memory then. How long, not, I know how long now. How did you become a vampire? How were you turned? Under what circumstances? Very curious. Alright, so you went into the woods because you lost a bet. Yes? And then oh, the vampire that turned you did it on a dare. Well, that's it seems a little bit rude. Are you still in contact with the one who turned you? I imagine I've heard at the very least that vampires typically remain close to their spawn and offer some guidance most of the time. Your online friends left for France, and you play Fortnite on the week. You play Fortnite on the weekends. Okay. So have you received any instruction on how to exist and continue to function in society as a vampire, or anything like? No. All right. Okay. She's the one who suggested to keep bats in your coat pockets. I see. Now, as an additional point of curiosity, what is the reason for keeping bats in one's pockets? What's the... Why did you do that? Why do you do that? And why did you throw them at me? for surprise. And, okay. Okay, for surprise. In order to dissolve into bat. Okay. Is that how, if you entered bat form, would the bats come with you? Would they follow along with your lead? Or would they simply do their own thing? They're very loyal. Okay. No, I assure you, I don't need a demonstration. I don't need. All right, yes, I can see. There are 3 bats, and that's. I'm going to be entirely honest. I don't think 3 bats is much of a swarm. This feels like you have turned into a single bat. You've turned into a single bat, and then there are 2 other bats that just happen to be in the area. All right. No, you can stop now. You can stop. You can. Okay. All right. Thank you for turning back and for collecting your bats. Oh my goodness. All right. I feel like this is just. Okay, let's just move on. As a vampire, you must drink blood, right? Surely, you drink blood. Now, knowing that, I would like to ask you, what does blood taste like to you now? As a vampire, has the flavor changed? It tastes, I see. So, like iron mixed with fruit. Metallic Capri Sun. Interesting. Interesting. So, well, but it does vary. Okay, that. How often do you feed? Actually, this is something I have been wondering is how much do you feed? Okay, so it's semi-regular, and is that sufficient? You've been stress eating lately. Does that mean as a question, are you typically capable of restraining yourself when you feed? do you typically drain your prey entirely, or do they often survive, or I'm just wondering because I feel like if you're not capable of restraint, then stress eating would some might call that a massacre. And again, I cast no judgment, but I just want to make sure I fully understand. A vampire and a vampire hunter who found a way to feed without blood. I do wonder what they're up to now. Wait, so you feed on feral hogs? Is that a frequent thing? I see. That seems like an uncommon food source for vampires. I'm told that historically most vampires really struggle to get by on purely animal blood. All right. I mean, if I will admit, I did encounter a large number of hogs outside, including, oddly enough, I was passing through the forest to get here, and I saw there was a mushroom circle, right? One of my kin must have made it, and I saw this mushroom circle, and the strangest thing, there were around 30 hogs that had been turned to stone, piled atop each other, in the mushroom circle. The hog shrine, I see. Now, as a final question that I personally find myself very curious about, what qualifies as a wooden stake, right? This is something I've been thinking about. If I have this pencil, right? I've been writing with this pencil this whole time. Okay? I've been writing things down with a pencil, which is a wooden writing implement. Now, okay, so it has to be nothing but wood. Is solid U? That's very specific. Very, very specific. Interesting. And is this something your sire taught you, or is this something you've just made up? Because, again, you told me your sire did not teach you much. It actually sounds like you... sounds like you know more than you're letting on, or you're lying to me, which I would not appreciate. Obviously, sort of difficult to tell one way or another without seeing it in action, but okay. So we have some variance, some uncertainty here. Let me try a different question then. Do you see this? These are wooden picks. They are about 4 inches long, and they are sharpened. Now, my question for you is whether there is a size requirement for a wooden stake. Would such a little wooden pick qualify? Is the requirement simply that it has to pierce the heart? Does it have to go clean through? Relax. I mean you no harm. This is just for demonstratory purposes. Fully through the heart. Alright. Then theoretically these wouldn't kill you. Even if they pierced, they would not make it through the heart. They would not make it in one end and out the other. It would hurt. Well, naturally, which is why I'm not testing it. I have absolutely zero intention of testing it. I'm just academically curious. I should apologize. I was a guest here today for your lovely event, and I've been so terribly rude with all these questions, and you've been so kind, taking your time and answering my questions. Oh, you're very welcome. You know, they're not typically something I seek out. They're not, events like these are not my usual haunts, but as much as the noise and the crowds and the clamor became a bit much by the end, I must say, I enjoyed myself. Until it did get too overstimulating, I really enjoyed my time here. Well, do I have your permission to use your words in an upcoming publication on the nature of vampires, or if not, if you would prefer not to, that's entirely fine. I understand, but I would very much appreciate it. Oh, I haven't named the book yet. But I will be sure to credit you. Well, unfortunately, I am in the business of representing the facts when it comes to vampires. I'm trying to be as honest as I can, so I will make you look exactly as cool as you are. Oh, naturally. Naturally, you will certainly not be the only vampire I interview. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate having the chance to ask my questions. You have a lovely day's sleep. It looks like the sun will be rising soon. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you. You know, you're supposed to be. Oh, we've lost tracking a little bit. You're supposed to be a vampire in this audio, not a group of feral hogs.